For Emirati filmmaker Majid Abdulrazak, one of the defining moments in his life was when he read The Count of Monte Cristo, the 1844 novel by Alexander Dumas. Born and raised in Dubai, Abdulrazak has always had a passion for films. His interest in filmmaking came at a very young age, but he only really got into the industry recently. Majid is the first Emirati to have written, directed and acted in 4 full-length feature films, investing millions of dirhams creating his movies. So how does an Emirati filmmaker overcome the challenges of being a part of an industry that for many in the community here is still considered off limits? We speak to the filmmaker Majid Abdulrazak to find out. Before we start talking about your latest film, Bani Adam, when did you first know that you wanted to be a filmmaker and be part of this industry?
Okay, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Actually, I was a keen reader of a book called The Count of Monte Cristo since I was a child. This book, for some reason, did not leave me. And I was attached to it like a glue, you can say. I used to read it as a child, the comic version, and then when I could read a proper book, I started reading it. And the story inspired me so much that I always wanted to make a film about it. And because of my business and social problems, I could never make a film till probably 10 years ago, when I sold my factory and part of my business. And then I said, now I have the time. And the thing most which I wanted to do was to make a film based on the Count of Monte Cristo. So without having any experience as such, just depending on others, I wrote the script and then lodged the film. I contacted artists all over the place in the Gulf, and then the crew and the equipment, I got it from Bollywood and India. And somehow 10 years ago, I started making the film. Now, the idea which fascinated me was at one time to make the film in 3 different languages. Not just changing the dubbing, but having their own artists. Like, I wanted to make the film in Arabic, of course, having Gulf artists. Then, for the subcontinent, I chose Pakistan, and I made a film, similar story, more or less similar location, except for some places, and also in Farsi, for the Iranians. Unfortunately, for some reason, after shooting for a while, I couldn't complete the Iranian version. But the Urdu version and the English version was completed, was released. It was a big project for an unexperienced person like me. It took more time than what was required. But eventually, I made 2 films. It was like a gift to myself. I wanted to present to myself. People usually, as a gift to themselves, as a reward, they go and buy a yacht or an apartment in London or somewhere. I had no desire for those things. What I wanted was, since I was young, to make a film based on the Count of Monte Cristo. And I made it. And the idea of making it for the entire region, using the same locality, more or less, wherever possible, but changing the artist, changing the language, and in some cases even changing the decor. But the 2 films have turned out to be nice. I was unaware of the commercial side that much, because my entire feeling was on the artistic and the cultural side, and on the book. So I didn't take, that was a big mistake I made. For example, Pakistan was not ready for it. For that film, that country was not ready for it. Here, the people are ready for it, but the audience are very few. The main thing is, I managed to fulfill my dreams.
Now, you are the first Emirati to have made 4 full-length feature films, investing millions of dirhams on your movies. In your opinion, is filmmaking a taboo subject here in the UAE?
Yeah, definitely it is. Especially in my own case, my family, they don't come at all from this line. And they found it very strange and weird that I should be touching such a line. It's after all entertainment and all what comes with entertainment. So some of them are still angry with me for doing such a thing. But there are others also who favor me and they believe in art and all what comes with art. So yeah, in a way it's a taboo subject and it's not appreciated by many. And that's why we have got a much lower film goers than, for example, the Indians or the Europeans. Culturally, there's a problem, and my own family members, a majority of them, they don't go to cinemas, and they find it very strange that I have made such a thing.
But why do you think it's not appreciated here?
As I said, it's part of the entertainment, and if you are part of the entertainment world, it's different. For example, if you are a religious person, you can't be entertaining. It doesn't agree with each other in a way. Socially also, it's not something which is appreciated or accepted, unfortunately. Although they don't know, that's the reason, they don't know that making a film, what is it? It's photography, which is to me a great thing. Then it's writing, literature, dialogues, which is such a dramatic thing to be in. Then you have got directing, which itself requires a lot of ideas, vision, how to set the frame, how the actors should react on a certain script. So all that is quite an achievement. As I said, writing, directing, acting. Acting is a very difficult thing. And in my case, for example, just imagine, in 3 languages I had to act in front of very professional actors, because besides me, the rest were very professional. This was their job. They knew nothing else. They were professional actors of a high level, whether they were Iranians or Indians or the locals. And me, just a newcomer, I had to face them. I had to cry and talk and laugh in front of them, in front of a camera, 30, 40 people. So it was very, very difficult. And remembering those dialogues, and Count of Monte Cristo is nothing but dialogues. And to remember dialogue and to say it properly in front of a camera, in front of those artists, match them in the acting, requires some work, to say the least.
Now, you are first and foremost a businessman, and it was only later in your career that you decided to start writing and making films. Do you face criticism because you have chosen to become a filmmaker?
Yes, I do. But as they say, that when you do it often, it becomes less. So the first time, it was, like a big thing, big news, and people couldn't believe it and all that. But now they're used to me, so in a way they accept it. But some of them, they're still angry with me for doing it. And then the other side, what financially is not rewarding. It's always, difficult to explain to some people. I mean, they don't understand that you spend millions and you get practically nothing out of it for some hobby or passion or desire. This many people don't understand. And they have every right not to understand that for the sake of your passion, you should waste millions of dirham. And I'm guilty, and I admit that.
Now tell us how you've developed as a filmmaker since making Iqab, your first film, which was released in 2006, and as you've already mentioned, was based on the Count of Monte Cristo.
Yeah, in my case, unfortunately, there was no training, there was no schooling, I'm not from that industry. I just make it and then I forget about them. And years pass when I make the next one. But with every film, you progress. And then my advantage is this, because as a producer, director, I'm involved with each and every department. So, for example, actors, they're very good professionally, but if you speak to them about other departments, writing, direction, financial problem, they're unaware of it. But in my case, because I'm the producer, director, actor, so I'm, very closely involved in each and everything.
Welcome back. The latest film from producer, writer, director and actor Majid Abdulrazak is Bani Adam. It depicts the realities of life in the Gulf while portraying a dramatic love triangle. The film is due to be released in cinemas across the UAE on November 7, and its success, according to Majid, is the deciding factor as to whether he will continue pursuing his passion of filmmaking. Now, November 7 sees the release of your latest film, Bani Adam, in cinemas across the GCC. It is one of the only films to be shot and produced here in the UAE. Can you tell us a little about the process of making this film and maybe some of the challenges that you encountered?
Yeah, as everyone knows, the first thing in a film is the script, and that probably is the most important thing. You have to have a 100% complete script. So in this case, Bani Adam, I had some ideas myself. I took the help of other, films which I had seen in the past, books which I read in the past, things which happened in Dubai, like endurance race and all that, formed it together and made it a script. And in my case, what I do is, in order not to be disturbed, I leave the country. I go on a travel, a whole month or two sometimes, just writing the script, take my instruments, all what gives me ideas, and go to some hotel, go far away. In the daytime, I amuse myself by going around, sightseeing and all that. But after 6, I'm in my room, locked, order room service, and keep on writing, getting ideas, taking the help of this and that. And by 11, 12, I finish it. So that's how I wrote the script. The rest is, like any other business. You need artists, and you need the crews, and you need the equipments, and of course the money. So and because I have the experience, so I know whom should I contact. And the other thing is you have to do it at the least possible amount. So, because the income, the resources is so little that budgeting it properly and not spending much is the most important thing. So it's a combination of many things. You join them together, and then in my case, I have a beautiful place where we make it as the head office. All the equipments, the crews, they live over there. It's in my farm, and from there, on a daily basis, we make our program. If we have to go on an outside location, the entire team goes there. We were shooting in Kempinski, Ajman for a long time, and thanks to them, they were very helpful. Then the Hilton in Ras Al Khaimah, because there were some scenes I needed halls and rooms and all those things, and they were quite, acceptable. Then there are houses and farms of others. And for this film, Bani Adam, just for information, we didn't leave any place. There is a place called Shuehat. I was looking for a mountain, for a cliff, where right below it is the sea. I couldn't find that in Ras Al Khaimah, Fujairah. They have mountains, of course, but with the sea below, there aren't any. So I went to Shuehat, which is close to the Saudi border. And in those mountainous area where the rocks and the mountain are pink and red in color, very beautiful, you see it on the screen. And the hero, for example, falls from the mountain or of a cliff into the sea, and where all the tragedy begins. So we shot, I would say, from one corner of UAE till Dibba, which is the last end of Musandam, Dibba area. So as far as location is concerned, we are very, versatile, and we try to show as much as possible.
In your opinion, is it difficult to make commercial films here in the UAE?
No, if you have the means and if you know your job, it's not difficult. Actually, over here, it's easier than other places. Like, if you shoot other places, they don't have the location. Everything is difficult. Over here, things are easy. Transport is easy. The country is small, so from one direction to other, from one location to other, it's not a big issue. Things are, smooth and easy and all that. Our only problem is the marketing side, the releasing side, and the lack of the audience. We should go to the cinema and appreciate it and enjoy it. Like, for example, Indian films, to give you an example, my God, there is no shortage of audience. Now the other good thing which they have, or the Hollywood has, is that besides showing it all over the world and milking it all over the world, even in UAE, when they come over here, they milk it thoroughly and they get the maximum income out of it. In our case, we go to the cinema owners, distributors, they don't like us because they say that you all don't have that much of an audience. So in their cases, they have the whole world and they get the advantage and the income. For example, let me say about Bollywood films, whether it is the Middle East or Africa or Europe, Canada, America, Australia, Far East. Of course, they have been working for it for years and they deserve it. And we are just new. But in our case, since we are Arabs, not only, we can only show it in the Gulf countries. Even other Arab countries, they don't appreciate our films.
Now, for those who are looking to get into the industry, do you think that there are enough avenues for emerging filmmakers to grow and develop in the UAE? And what do you think the major challenges are in the industry, and how are they being addressed?
All my hearts are with them. I really hope and wish them the best. They really deserve it. They are really talented and they want to do something. But to make a film, the main thing is you have to have the funds. Sponsors are hardly available. Poor guys, they work hard on sponsors. There are very, very few sponsors. Financially, they can make a short film, 5, 10, 15 minutes, and they do their best. But to make a feature film is not within their limits. You need budget. You need resources. And those poor, very talented youngsters, they don't have it. And because of that, they're stuck. And they're limited to what they can do. So they ask their friend to act in a film. Probably, luckily nowadays, everything is digital, so the cost of camera is lesser. So within their limited frame, let's say within a budget of 50,000 dirhams or less, they try to do something. They work hard, they have a lot of hopes. But to make a feature film, you're speaking about millions. And majority can't do it. And even the senior ones can't do it. So it's not easy, and I understand why.
Finally, I guess after the release of Bani Adam, what's next for you?
Well, this time I'm serious that if I don't get enough response, if the audience are not there, and if they don't appreciate my hard work, there is no point in continuing, unfortunately. I have to say, ma'a salama to this line. Not because I don't want to do it, not because I don't like it, not because I don't have the will or desire, no, that is all there. I even have another script ready. The only thing which will reject me and put me in despair is the lack of audience and the lack of appreciations. So I'm really requesting the locals, the Arabs, and of course all those who wants to watch UAE film, and there is a subtitle in English for foreigners, that they should see the film for the future of UAE film industry. Otherwise, in my case, I'm giving it up.
Majid Abdulrazak, thank you very much for your time today.
Thank you.
Well, that brings us to the end of our program. If you would like to get in touch with us, you can contact us at UAE Weekly at city7tv.com or by calling us on 04367 2230. From myself and the entire team, have a great week ahead.